Imagine a world where Thomas Edison never invented the light bulb. Just think about it, one of the most important inventions in human history, simply not happening. How would life have unfolded? Would we still be sitting in candlelight today? Would society have moved forward as quickly as it did? It's a wild idea to explore, and today we're diving deep into this alternate reality where Edison never created the invention that quite literally lit up the world. Get ready to rethink everything you thought you knew about history, technology, and the very world we live in. At first, the immediate aftermath might not seem catastrophic. After all, Edison wasn't the only one experimenting with electric light. Inventors like Sir Humphrey Davy, Warren de la Rue, and Joseph Swan had already made significant strides in creating electric lighting systems. But here's the thing, Edison didn't just invent a working light bulb. He invented a practical, affordable, and long-lasting version of it. He created an entire system that made electricity accessible to homes and businesses. Without Edison leading that charge, electric light might have remained a laboratory novelty for many more years. Streets would still have been dimly lit with gas lamps or oil lanterns. Homes would have continued to rely heavily on candles, fireplaces, and kerosene lamps, all of which were dangerous, expensive, and highly inefficient. The cozy image of modern cities glowing with neon lights and high-rise offices buzzing late into the night? That world would have been delayed, or might have taken a completely different path. In the long term, the consequences of Edison not inventing the light bulb would have been profound. The development of the electric power industry, which Edison also helped pioneer, might have been pushed back by decades. Imagine if the mass electrification of cities like New York, London, and Paris hadn't occurred when it did. Factories would have continued operating with steam and gas power much longer, limiting industrial growth and innovation. Nightlife as we know it, restaurants, theaters, even late-night shopping, might not have flourished the way it did. The concept of a 24-hour city could have remained a fantasy for much longer. People's working hours would have stayed more closely tied to the natural cycle of daylight, meaning that productivity, economic output, and even cultural developments would have evolved differently. The fast-paced, always-on world that we take for granted today could have been much slower to arrive. When we zoom out to a global perspective, the delay in widespread electric lighting could have reshaped industries in unimaginable ways. For instance, think about healthcare. Hospitals today depend on consistent, reliable lighting to perform surgeries and run emergency services. Without the light bulb pushing forward the electrification movement, medical advancements might have been severely delayed. Educational institutions would have also felt the impact. Students studying by candlelight simply couldn't have had the same opportunities for learning and growth as those who could read and write under bright, reliable electric light. Even entertainment would look vastly different. No light bulb would mean no movie projectors, no brightly lit stages, no television as we know it today. Edison himself had a hand in inventing the early motion picture camera. Without him pushing boundaries in both light and media technology, Hollywood might have taken much longer to come into existence, altering the global culture of film and entertainment. Governments and economies would have had to adapt to a very different kind of energy landscape. The oil and gas industries, already powerful, would have become even more dominant without the quick rise of electrical systems challenging them. Countries rich in oil resources could have gained even more influence, while those betting early on electricity might have struggled longer to modernize. The environment, too, would have faced harsher consequences. Burning oil, gas, and coal to provide light produces a lot more pollution than clean electric power. Without the early shift to electricity, our carbon footprint could have grown even faster in the 19th and 20th centuries, accelerating climate change and environmental degradation far beyond where we are today. So, ironically, even though electricity brought its own challenges, delaying its rise could have made the environmental crises we face today even worse. Now, it's worth remembering that if Edison hadn't done it, someone else probably would have eventually filled the gap. Joseph Swan in England had a working prototype, and inventors across Europe and America were inching toward practical electric lighting solutions. But timing is everything. Edison's aggressive push for not just the light bulb, but the entire infrastructure, generators, wiring, and electric power grids, was what truly revolutionized the world. Without his leadership, it's likely that the process would have been slower, more fragmented, and far less efficient. Instead of a relatively quick adoption of electric light by the late 19th century, we might have had to wait until well into the 20th century to see fully electrified cities. That delay would have impacted every single part of modern life, from how we build our homes to how we organize our workdays to how quickly we communicate and travel. So, what if Thomas Edison never invented the light bulb? We would be looking at a very different world. Dimmer, slower, less connected, and perhaps more dangerous. Our cities might have stayed dark and gaslit for much longer. Progress in medicine, education, industry, and culture could have lagged behind by decades. The bright, buzzing modern life we often take for granted might have been a distant dream. But what do you think? Would someone else have eventually taken up Edison's role, or was his unique vision and relentless drive irreplaceable? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you love exploring alternate realities with us, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more mind-bending what-if scenarios right here at What If Factory. Until next time, keep wondering, keep imagining, and always keep asking, what if?